So, myself and Sebastian were looking for the Birmingham Pride sub-adults, and we've just found them stealing a hoisted baby impala carcass out of a tree. And this lion is actually up in a bush willow tree. It looks like it's almost wanting to fall out. And it's trying desperately to steal this kill out of the tree that a leopard must have hoisted earlier today. And you can see some of the other lions actually waiting at the bottom. Both of the white lions are at the bottom there, as well as one further to the right. And it's such a comical scene to be watching, because this young lion is really trying hard to balance on that tiny little branch and steal that carcass. It's got it hooked on the claw. There you can see it's actually starting to chew. This is incredible. It's the first time I've seen one of these youngsters stealing a carcass out of a tree. Oh my goodness. She's really trying hard to get it down there. She's nibbling on the end. So that leopard has actually done a really, really good job of hoisting this carcass. But she's going to fall. She got a piece. She got a piece. It's done a really good job, because that's the weight of a lion pulling there. And that carcass did not budge. Just a piece broke off as she slipped. You can actually see some blood on her paws as well. Doesn't look incredibly comfortable. And this light is just perfect. Look how golden she is, with that bright red of that fresh meat. You can actually hear some growling as well. So the white lion at the bottom is quite unhappy, because he also wants a chunk. And she beat him to that position in the tree. But you can see he's watching carefully to see if it's going to fall out. And this is incredibly important, because for the last few days here at And Beyond and Gala, we've seen these 8 sub-adults of the Birmingham Pride breaking away from their parents. And we don't know if it's going to be a permanent thing. I don't know if you think it might be. But it's really important that they get any food that they can while they're on their own. Those young males are actually old enough now that they would naturally start getting pushed out of the pride, but like that white lioness now, she should still stay with the pride, being a lioness, and she's younger as well. Look at those eyes in this light. So there she's gone up to one of the oldest sub-adult males. And that lion is going back for more. Have a look how it's stretching up at the top there, clawing at the meat. And all of the others are watching at the base of the tree, hoping for a chunk. See how that white lion absolutely dominated over the other one there, put it in its place. A bit of discipline and dominance issues going on here. That white lioness is very interested. So we know there have been some hyenas around as well, which is also making them a bit nervous. And that lioness is not giving up. She got quite a good chunk there. Nearly fell out doing it. She might fall backwards. She's actually lowering herself down the tree. It's the first time I've seen a lion do that in person. Wow. Usually they're not so elegant and they fall out. Oh, now you might get a bit of that. Oh, another fight. That's a different one, trying to get up now. Much more elegant than the first and higher up. Wow. Oh my goodness. This scene is absolutely incredible. It's the first time I've ever seen this happen in my 3.5 years of living here. And I'm really, really excited that it's these particular lions as well, because the Birmingham Pride is by far my favorite pride of lions. Because I think I get to spend so much time with them that you start learning their personalities. And you get to watch them grow up. And oh word, look at that with the eyes peeking out over the branch. So the young male has gotten incredibly big, and so I'm not surprised that he's the one instilling dominance over the others. I think the concern there is that the young males are actually so heavy that they might be a little nervous to try and climb. He's giving it a go, but you can see it's not nearly as elegant. He's almost struggling. Size of that paw coming through that branch. He really is going to be a massive male when he's older. Those are the two larger of the sub-adults, so I think they're feeling a bit left out at the moment, being so heavy. The others are just sitting off to the side there. They've already polished what they had. It's gone. And that white lioness is still looking very interested in what's happening around her. The young male on the left seems to have forgotten anything's happening. Oh, look at those teeth. So there's a lot of yawning going on, a lot of moving of the tongues, licking of the lips. And that's a sign that they are feeling quite active. Even though they're settled down for now, it's purely because they found a spot where there is some food and a little bit of shade, and I think they're actually going to keep moving for the rest of the night. We're incredibly close to our eastern boundary here at and beyond Ngala, and I think they might actually cross out overnight into the rest of the Kruger National Park. So I think what I'm actually going to do, I'm going to move you a little bit forward into the gap. And I can still hear a little bit of, some scent marking. That's unusual. He's quite young to be scent marking. But again, starting to break away from the adults. It's almost that time now where they might start wanting to stay away permanently. I was saying earlier, I can actually still hear some bones crunching in the background every now and then, and that might just be the end piece of the leg that doesn't have much meat on it. There, you can hear the crunching. And that lioness is still looking up into the tree. So there was actually still a piece that stayed there. It was quite well hoisted and stuck in the tree. But it looked like it was majority skin, so I think they've got what was left, which was around the rump and the back legs of that baby impala. There's definitely not enough to feed them, not even one of them. So any chance that these cats get, any of the big cats are opportunistic. So any chance that these youngsters get, they will steal anything that could feed them. A little bit of interaction there between the two males. He is absolutely beautiful, that white male. They all are, but I think there's just something special about him. It's so nice as well to see how much their manes are coming in. Have a look at that hair in between his front legs already. And you can see his shoulders are all muscle. He's sniffing around the base of the tree, hoping for some scraps. Ian, white lions are incredibly rare. There are only 2 that we see here in and beyond Ngala, but actually in the wild, there's only 3 that we know of that were born in the wild naturally in the world. And so that's a really, really rare animal to see, especially knowing that these 2 were born completely naturally. A lot of the other white lions that might be in other reserves or in other parts of South Africa were usually bred and then released into those areas. So people unfortunately like to find something like this and breed it to be kept in places like zoos because it is unusual. But in the wild we only know of 3 at the moment that are natural wild white lions. So it's an incredible thing to think of if you think of it that way. And how lucky are we, and how lucky are you as well to be able to see them like this, 2 of them in one place. I love how he's curled the tip of his tail up to almost a perfect little circle. Dizzy, we have no idea if the leopard is here. It might have been, and maybe when it heard them or saw them coming, it might have moved off. I certainly haven't seen any signs of it here right now. I haven't heard any commotions. I haven't seen any movement. But I think even if it was here, it would have moved quickly when it saw these lions coming. But I'd be very keen to see, once the lions have moved off, how long it would take for that leopard to come back and have a look if there's any of that carcass left. I don't know what he's got behind the tree there. It almost looks like he's catching flies, but there's another one climbing the tree now and almost falling again. 2 fighting over the tree currently. That sound is incredible. She's flattened herself in the grass there, trying to protect that last little piece of leg that they've got in there. Wow. So that lioness is actually very far up the tree. I'm actually going to move us a little bit back. Oh, there she's jumped out. And she's hidden herself so well. I think it's very interesting that only the lionesses actually climbed up and managed to steal anything. This is definitely a first for me and something I will never forget. Sitting here and watching the white lions and their brothers and sisters and cousins, half brothers and half sisters, climbing a tree to steal a leopard's kill. It amazes me, the grass is so long at the moment. That white one, she really stands out very well, but knowing that there's actually 4 lions in that little patch of grass. And from here, you can actually only see the white female clearly. So driving past this, if she wasn't a little bit into that gap, you'd actually struggle to see them unless you actually heard the sound of them fighting over that carcass, or they lifted their heads like that. Oh wow, what a jump. Thinking really hard about the next step. So lions are quite a lot heavier and bulkier than a leopard, and so climbing a tree is not an easy feat for them. Look at those claws that are sticking out, holding onto that bark of the tree. It's not often you get to see all of the claws so beautifully exposed. She's trying so hard. And wondering how to get down again. See if I can move you a little bit back again. The white one's coming back over to investigate. She's actually balancing herself on that branch, 1 foot behind the other. It is actually quite a narrow branch for a lion. It's quite a logistical problem for her to figure out which branches can hold her weight. It's a bit of a challenge to see how she can get there. So the leopard was actually very clever to put this carcass in this particular tree, because a bush willow has a lot of stems coming out, a lot of branches, so it's not easy to climb because you're constantly trying to move around all of the other branches. Oh, getting wobbly. Whoa, she's slipping. Look at those muscles while she's tensing in her shoulders. Jojo, this is incredibly fascinating. I am loving this. Whoa. Oh, there she goes. An elegant landing for a not so elegant slip. I wonder if she's going to try again. You've got to give them points here for being really tenacious about this. They are adamant that they are going to get this carcass. Trying to sniff for little bits that may have fallen off. It's actually very interesting as well, now that I'm thinking about it. That lioness that was gripping on so hard, it shows how tough the skin of the impala actually is for not breaking when she was hanging onto it, even with those sharp claws. But I think what I'm going to do, I'm definitely staying here for a while longer to see what happens, and hopefully one of them will climb back